What if the letters coming out of that prison cell weren't actually apologies? What if they were warnings? And here's the real question. What if those warnings were meant for his own family? Hello lovely viewers. How are you? How's your day going? And tell me, how does this story feel? While you're sitting there with a cup of coffee, there's something unsettling here. And it doesn't start with what's being said. It starts with who it's coming from. Ellipsis, once the most visible face of the Duggar family, is now serving time. That alone changed everything. But now, there are conversations online suggesting he may still be trying to influence the narrative from prison. And the tone, it's not what people expected. Some discussions suggest he's been communicating with family members. Not just updates, but messages that feel heavier. Some even interpret them as him presenting himself as someone who was targeted or treated unfairly. My daughter is really annoying today. How are you? Let me know in the comments. And let's get into this. There's been a lot of chatter. And this is where it gets interesting. The Duggar family built their image on trust, faith, and a very controlled public presence. If that image starts cracking from within, everything changes. What stands out here is not just the communication, but the tone behind it. It's one thing to stay in touch. It's another to possibly reshape the story while still facing serious consequences. And then there's He's always been quieter, more private, less controversial. So when his name starts appearing in conversations like this, people notice. Now, to be clear, there's no confirmed evidence that Joseph is involved in anything criminal. And that matters, because right now, a lot of this sits in speculation, interpretation, and timing. But here's the thing, public perception moves fast. And once a narrative starts forming, it's hard to stop. This is where it becomes less about law and more about psychology. The Duggar family has always operated as a unit. Decisions, appearances, messaging, everything feels coordinated. So if one person shifts that pattern, even slightly, it creates tension. Some online discussions describe the tone of these alleged messages as confrontational, even provocative. Words like taunting have been used. But again, nothing officially confirmed. Still, if someone in that position starts implying others could face scrutiny, it creates pressure. And that changes everything. Because now, it's not just about defense. It becomes about fear. So the question becomes, is this about maintaining innocence? Or is it about pulling others into the spotlight? That's what people keep asking. And timing adds another layer. Things had gone quiet. Public interest had faded. The show was gone. The headlines slowed down. Then suddenly, the conversation starts again. And that makes it feel intentional, even if it isn't. From a psychological perspective, this kind of behavior isn't unusual. When someone experiences a public fall, they often try to reframe their story. That doesn't mean it's true, but it does explain the pattern. And the audience, they're divided. Some see denial, some see manipulation, others think this points to deeper family issues. Then there's the silence. The Duggar family hasn't said much. No major statements, very few appearances, carefully controlled social media, and silence can mean many things. Dignity, avoidance, or even internal conflict. So people are left wondering, are they choosing not to respond? Or did they not know how? And what about the siblings? They're in a difficult position. Did they distance themselves? Did they defend him? Or did they stay quiet? Each choice comes with consequences, because one person's actions can ripple through an entire family. And this situation feels different. There's less control, more outside interpretation, and a lot more skepticism. Public reaction reflects that. Some are highly critical, others are cautious. They point out, not everything being discussed is confirmed. And that's important, because speculation can quickly become truth in the public eye. So let's stay grounded. What we know is simple. Is serving his sentence. Everything else, his tone, the alleged messages, the interpretations, those remain unconfirmed. But even without confirmation, the conversation itself reveals something. People feel like this story isn't over, not because of new legal cases, but because of unanswered questions about accountability, about influence, and about what happens behind closed doors. So the real question is this the end of the Duggar story? Or just a quieter chapter? And if these messages are real, what did they actually mean? Does he see himself as someone held accountable, or someone who still has something to prove? There's no clear answer, but one thing is certain. Influence doesn't completely disappear, even from prison, especially in a family as tightly connected as this one. And that's what keeps people watching. Not just what's happened, but what might happen next. Because uncertainty keeps the story alive. If you have thoughts on this, drop them in the comments. I might feature some of them in the next video.